Maja Stoll is a reservist in the Danish army. She's replacing dozens of Danish flags that were taken down by the U.S. Embassy in Copenhagen. Flags meant to draw attention to the 44 Danish soldiers killed in Afghanistan.
To begin with, they can start by offering a proper apology, and then you could say they might as well apologize to the British, because they didn't deserve this either.
Stoll is upset that embassy officials removed 44 flags, each bearing the name of a Danish soldier killed in battle. Starting in 2001, the Danes were part of a NATO force that struck Afghanistan following the September 11th attacks. More than 1,000 NATO troops from countries outside the U.S. paid the ultimate sacrifice. Despite that, in Davos last week, Donald Trump said this about the U.S.'s NATO allies.
We've never needed them. We have never really asked anything of them. You know, they'll say they sent some troops to Afghanistan or this or that. And they did. They stayed a little off the front lines.
It was a false claim that stung for Danish veterans of the war like Niels Jespersen, who fought on the front lines and received medals for his service.
We fought and bled alongside our American brothers in arms. So it's sad to hear these words.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. This is a video of a security guard working for the U.S. Embassy in Denmark, removing, on the orders of the embassy, Danish flags planted across the street. They were placed there to honor Danish service members who died serving alongside Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan. When we talk about the damage that the Trump regime is doing to America's alliances, we often distill the conversation into almost academic language. But there is nothing academic about how offensive this kind of thing is to the families of those who gave their lives because America asked them to join our fight. And there is nothing academic about the shame I feel in this moment for my country as Trump's State Department disparages loyal friends who gave the last full measure. I'm in Greenland right now, a protectorate of Denmark. Yesterday, I visited a remote fishing village where former Congressman Denver Riggleman and I were given the opportunity to perform the folding ceremony for a Greenlandic flag. This is how you show respect to a friend and ally. I've spoken with many Greenlanders and Danes who are baffled by the disrespect shown to them by President Trump. I spoke with Jakob Karsbo, a former Danish intelligence officer and an expert on Greenland's defense, about the damage being done by the Trump regime to the historic alliance between the U.S., Greenland, and Denmark. Jakob, thanks so much for speaking with us. I understand you were a member of the Danish intelligence service, and also that you served alongside Americans in combat theaters in Iraq. You were part of the American J-2 in Baghdad. As someone with that experience, with that background, how does it feel when our president says that Danes have not done enough, that they have not been standing alongside the U.S. when we've needed you? When I'm sure you've seen the same images I have. Maybe you've been there, as those flag-draped Danish service members are rolled off of the plane on their last trip home.
Yeah, it's hard to describe because you're really lost for words that anyone would say stuff like that. You know, it goes right, through my nerve system. And it's infuriating, but also, you shake inside, you feel like what is going on? What's happening here? I've not been injured in combat. I have friends that were severely injured in combat that came this close to dying, that have survived, fortunately. And for them to be spoken about like that. And some of them have done the really hard combat, not only in Iraq, in southern Iraq against the pro-Iranian militias, but also in Helmand, in southern Afghanistan, where some of the hardest fighting was taking place. And then you then you listen to stuff like that these years later, and it's just, yeah. We have a big demonstration in Denmark amongst the veteran community this coming Sunday, and the title is "No Words," because we're lost for words.
Of all of the countries in Europe to antagonize this way. Look, I know America has had its problems with some of our European allies, but when I've traveled to Denmark, it's one of the few European countries where I see American flags side by side with Danish flags. That history isn't just transactional. It's not just about security. It's about values. There is generational trust that President Trump is squandering.
Yeah. These days, when I warn Danes about what's happening in the Trump administration, I have to explain to people that I've served alongside American troops. I have a son that was born in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Wow.
I have friends in the US, and it hurts my guts, but this is what we're up against. And this is about democracy. This is about values. This is about human dignity. And it's,
One of the things we're hearing again and again from Greenlanders, mostly behind closed doors. We haven't had a few who will say it out in the open, but they're telling us as Americans that they're willing to fight for their land. They're willing to fight for their homes.
Yeah.
How do you respond to that?
It's a restive population. They've survived this environment here for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And they know, it's the toughest place on earth, I would almost say. And the first thing that happened to me when I got here on Friday, I was taken around town by a cab driver. And when I left, he pulled me aside and he said, explain to your friends that we have 35,000 long rifles in this country. And right from the age of 13, 14, we go out in boats and we can shoot little seals that are about the size of my hand from 100, 200 yards distance.
Yeah.
Always remember that. And I think that's a message. And, how many people we spoke to yesterday that say behind closed doors, we have our rifles and we're talking about being prepared. So, it's going to be a terrible mess and a lot of death we hope it doesn't come to that. We hope deterrence works, but people need to be on their toes and be prepared.
Thank you, Jakob.
You're welcome. Always.
I've felt this pressure for years to constantly replace clothes as trends change or seasons shift, especially with outerwear and layers. Stuff that looks fine at first, but once you actually rely on it, cold mornings, long days, travel, it just doesn't hold up. And that's frustrating. This time of year, a good hoodie is essential. It's something you reach for over and over again. But finding one that's genuinely warm, comfortable, and built to last isn't easy. That's why I wear American Giant. Their classic full zip hoodie feels different the moment you put it on. The fabric has real weight to it. The construction is solid. It's made with the assumption that you're actually going to live in it, not just wear it a few times and move on. And it's built to last a lifetime. Slate magazine famously called it the greatest hoodie ever made, and that reputation is earned. From the cotton to the zipper, it's made right here in the USA. What I appreciate most about American Giant is the quality and durability. Every detail feels intentional. The heavyweight fleece, the side panels that give you mobility, the reinforced elbows, the double-lined hood. It has a clean fit that works whether you're traveling, working, or just trying to stay warm. And the more you wear it, the better it gets. Softer, more comfortable, more yours. American Giant obsesses over the details, and they're deeply committed to the communities that make their products. Everything is made in America, no exceptions. They make staples that are anything but basic, like the premium Slub Crew tee and the No BS high-rise and slim roughneck pants featured in Giant magazine. For me, clothing quality matters more than just looking good. I want pieces I can count on year after year. American Giant delivers that, and you feel the difference every time you put it on. This season, snag the hoodie that will bring you comfort for life, the American Giant Classic Full Zip, and save 20% off your first order at AmericanGiant.com when you use code KEN at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at AmericanGiant.com, code KEN. It's Ken Harbaugh with a quick break to tell you about something new. Battle Buddies is my latest weekly show where I try to find common ground with a conservative who I consider a true friend, David Bellavia, the only surviving Medal of Honor recipient from the war in Iraq. A Navy vet, an Army vet from opposite ends of the political spectrum, engaging in a civil conversation like we used to have. From the ICE immigration crackdowns to Trump's takeover of Venezuela, David and I take on the toughest issues of the day with genuine respect for each other, in spite of our very different perspectives. They're not always easy conversations, but they're always important, and that's something we need more of. Respectful dialogue between people who disagree, but who have figured out how to stay friends. Check out Battle Buddies today. 2 vets, 2 views, 1 nation. Find us on the Valor Media Network. The link's below. Thanks. And finally, here's my good friend and companion on this trip, former Congressman Denver Riggleman. Congressman Riggleman, we've done some wild things together.
Lots of adventures.
I don't know that we've ever been on the ground in a NATO ally talking about a potential American invasion with one of the airfields right behind us.
I was looking
would land at.
it's right there.
It is
right
surreal.
there.
As beautiful as the setting in,
Incredible.
The context is ominous. And I don't know if you felt this as an American here, but most places I have been, certainly during my time in the Navy, I didn't carry a sense of shame with me. But that is the new normal in Trump's America.
I think you just picked the right word. You know, me and you were talking about, is it embarrassment? Is it, right? Are we, nervous? I think it's shame. And when we're talking to people here in Greenland who've talked about us being their number one ally, their best friend, the fact that no matter what trouble they were in, they knew that the United States would come to their aid. And now, as me and you talked about, what was it the night before? They had the power outage and they thought the Americans were coming.
Yeah.
And they were even talking about, what did they say? That a lot of the teenage children here, a lot of the teenagers here, like, oh my God, the Americans are coming. And they were very affected by it. And to me, it was so overwhelming to listen to that, Ken. I don't really know how to get my arms around it.
Yeah. Well, I know you were just talking to some of those kids.
Right
we're not going to put them on camera, of course. But it's not a game here. It feels like a game to the Trump administration. It feels like content creation, right? Clickbait for their MAGA audience. But when your boot's on the ground, when you're talking to the people who have to bear the brunt of that kind of bullying and intimidation, I can't remember if you were part of this conversation, but the night that the power was cut, calls to the suicide hotline here spiked. It has real consequences, even if it's just performative bluster by our president.
I think we're so used to living in the United States, we don't understand how we're viewed from outside. Yeah. Fortunately, me and you have been on the adventures to Ukraine, right? We've been all around the world together. And when you talk to people that look at the United States, we have $1 trillion military. They see the news. They see that we're unstoppable. We're huge, right? How do we stop the Americans if they were to come here? And when you have Trump playing around, or the administration saying it's just a block of ice, or they want to build these weird future cities here, it's bizarre. But for the Greenlanders, it's real, because they've already seen our projection of power. They know that we're part of NATO. They're part of NATO. So your question is so spot on. Your statement is so spot on, Ken, is we don't understand how the United States is portrayed because we're so insular over there. How many Americans have actually been to Greenland? Yeah. Or been to Denmark, for that matter, or been anywhere in the Scandinavian countries? And I think that's what's incredible about being here, is being boots on the ground, talking to people who are affected by the president and his minions, who are saying things that are completely out of line and really verge on madness. Yeah.
We've been asking every Greenlander we've spoken to what their message for the American people is. What is your message for the Greenlanders?
Oh, your easy questions, Ken. They're so amazing. No, I actually think this is the toughest question, because I think they treated us with such respect. Yeah. But I do think some of the Greenlanders have had a tough time separating the American government from Americans. And the fact that we're here, I think we're allowing them to do that, but they're showing us such grace. But I think the message is they've always been our friends, and they want that trust to be regained.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. They don't trust us right now. And it's hard to believe that a NATO country doesn't trust their own ally based on the ridiculousness coming out of the administration. Is please stop. We want to trust you again. You have been our friends for generations. Why are you doing this?
Generations. Yeah. Thanks, Denver.
Thanks, buddy.
Denver and I are actually headed to Denmark tomorrow to join a procession of Danish veterans conducting a silent protest in front of the U.S. Embassy in Copenhagen. I'll check in from there. Thanks.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.